Okay, welcome back to part 2 here. This is where we left off. We just learned our new intercept form. When a quadratic equation is written in this form, we still have our a in front, which is so nice. That still tells us it's opening down and it's going to be a little more narrow than y equals x squared. P is -1 and Q is positive 3. Okay, the form, remember, the new form that we learned is y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. So the minus is in the formula. Okay, so if I have a +1, that must have been minus -1. P must have been -1 in order to make this a +1. So my intercepts are P0 and Q0. Okay, so I'm going to go to -1, 0, and 3, 0. My axis of symmetry will be halfway between here. So I'm going to add -1 and 3, and then divide that by 2. -1 plus 3 is positive 2, divided by 2 is 1. My axis of symmetry is right here at x equals 1. Okay? And you can see that's the intercepts are 2 away, right, from the axis of symmetry. The vertex then is 1 comma whatever. I'm going to put 1 back in my equation. If I want the y coordinate, when I put 1 in for x, then that's what I do. I put 1 in for x to give me the y coordinate. 1 plus 1, I'll use order of operations here, do what's in parentheses. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 minus 3 is -2. -2 times 2 times -2 is 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And exactly, why did I write 1, 1? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. I don't know why I wrote 1, 1. 1, 8. And my graph's a little off here. Obviously, 1 is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I graphed 1, 8 wrong. It's 2, 8. Here's 1, 8. It's right on the axis of symmetry. So if I want to find the y-intercept, I can. Here they're asking us to find which way it opens. Of course, down because of the -2 right here. Use A to find points 1 unit to the left and the right. So I'm going to go down 2 and over 1 from my vertex. And that gives me the point 2, 6, and 0, 6. So I kind of found the y-intercept while I was doing that. But if that wouldn't be the y-intercept, I would put 0 up here for x. I'd get 1 times -3 is -6. There is -3 times -2 is +6. So either way, I would have gotten this nice parabola. Okay? That's how you use intercept form. New, different, I know. Let's look at this one. Okay. Well, look at this, guys. A is a half. P is -2. Q is -6. Right there are my x intercepts, right? -2, 0, and -6, 0. I know I'm opening up, right? Because 1/2 is positive. It's going to be a little wider than my usual graph. Okay, so -2, 0, and 6, 0. If I'm going to go to the axis of symmetry next, okay, I can see it. Sometimes if I'm lucky enough to have my graph in front of me, I see that the y-intercept is going to be the vertex is going to be at -4 something. And -4 something down here, right? Because it opens up. Okay. However, if I didn't know that, I would add my P and Q together and cut it in half. -8 divided by 2 is -4. So my axis of symmetry is definitely at x equals -4. Okay, it's this right here. That's going to cut my parabola in half. Now my vertex is at -4 something. I'm not sure what. So I'm going to put -4 in for x. Okay, right here in my equation, I have 1/2 times x plus 2. Well, I'm using -4 for x. Times x plus 6, I'm using -4 for x. So I have 1/2 times -2. -4 plus 6 is +2. So I have half of -2 times 2. Half of -4, that's -2. So my vertex must be at -4, -2. Okay, let's see if that's what they got. -4, -2. My y-intercept I get by putting 0 in for x. Okay, 0. I can't erase this. Okay, sorry. 0 in for x. So I'm going to have 1/2 times 0 plus 2 times 0 plus 6. That's half of 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Half of 12 is 6. So my y-intercept must be 0, 6. Okay? That's how we get all this stuff. All right? Let me get this out of the way so I can graph my parabola. Hopefully you had that worked down. Okay, if not, you can rewind and pause it. Okay? Now realize my axis of symmetry, I always have a point mirroring it, the mirror image of it over here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 away from my axis of symmetry. 1, 2, 3, so 4 away is another 6. Okay, -8, 6 must be 1. If I want to find a point exactly 1 unit to the right and left, I'll use this 1/2. I'll go up 1/2 over 1, up 1/2 to the left 1. What's that? -3, -1.5, -5, -1.5. Okay, so that gives me those points. I have plenty of points now, and I can draw this nice graph. Okay, that's how you graph in vertex form. You're given the two in intercept form. You're given the two intercepts. You find the vertex by cutting that distance in half. That's the x coordinate. Of course, you find the y-intercept the same way we always have by putting 0 in. For x, we use the axis of symmetry to help us find other points on either end. Okay? All righty, let's try this one. Ugh. I don't have anything added or subtracted to this x. Well, you know what we do. We just say that's x minus 0. Okay, just like we did before in vertex form when we didn't have anything with the x squared. Okay, so a is -1/2, p is 0, and q is -6. So my intercepts are 0, 0, and -6, 0. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes when the numbers are a little bit off, should have moved those over. Anyway, axis of symmetry is halfway between. Okay, so one's probably here, right, at -3. X equals -3. If I add 0 plus -6 and cut that in half, yeah, that gives me -3. So that's my axis of symmetry. I know my vertex then is going to be -3 something. It's going to be up here, right? Because this is going to be opening down. Well, let's see what it is. Instead of guessing, I'm going to stick -3 in for x. So I have -1/2 times -3 times -3 plus 6. I stuck -3 in for x here. So I have -1/2 times -3. Let's see, -3 plus 6 is +3, right? -3 times 3 is -9. -1/2 times -9 is +4.5. So I'm at -3, up 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Okay, does that look right? All right, then we're going to use, what's it open? Well, it's opening down. I'm going to go down 1/2 over 1, down 1/2 over 1. right? Because a is a half. I don't go down 1 over 2. No, I go down or up, whatever this a is, and then always over 1. Since I was at a half, I was at 4.5, so down a half over 1, down a half over 1. Okay, so that gives me the point -2, 4, and -4, 4. My y-intercept, I'll put 0 in for x. That gives me -1/2 times 0 is 0, times anything is 0. I already knew the y-intercept. Oh well. Sometimes the y-intercept doesn't actually give you another point. You've already found it while you were doing other things. Okay, there's y equals -1/2 x times x plus 6. All right. Let's try this last one. We're opening up, right? You go ahead and try it. Oh, well, we have 3 minutes. We're good. I can tell that my x-intercepts are what? 0, 0, and 4, 0. You can see them right there, right? The y-intercept, again, is going to be 0, 0, once I saw that. Okay. Axis of symmetry is, halfway. Looks like x equals 2. If I add 0 plus 4 divided by 2, so the vertex is going to be 2 something. 2 what? Well, let's put 2 in for x. 3/2 times 2 is 3. 2 minus 4 is -2, so it's -6. The y coordinate on my vertex is -6. So 2, -6, 1, 2, 3, is my vertex. I'm going to have to go up 1.5 and over 1. It's kind of awkward. Up 1.5 and over 1 to find points to the left and right. 3/2, remember, is the same as 1.5. So A tells me how many to go up and over 1. I go up 1.5 and over 1. So what's that? 3, -4.5, 1, -4.5 are those 2 points. And I'm in pretty good shape now. 1.5 is a little bit bigger than 1, so it'll be a tiny bit skinnier than my usual y equals x squared, but not much. Okay, now we're asked to write an equation in intercept form if you're given these points. Okay, luckily I know P is 1 and Q is 4, right? So right away I can write y equals a times x minus 1 times x minus 4, right? I know P and Q. I don't know A. Looks a little skinny. I just don't know it. So I'm going to use this other point they gave me as my x and y. I can see that x is 2 and y is -6. So where y is, I'm going to write -6. And where x is, I'm going to write 2. That gives me -6 equals a times, what's 2 minus 1 is 1. 2 minus 4 is -2. -2 times 1 is -2. I'll divide. Okay, let me come up here. When I want the a by itself, so I'm going to divide by -2, and I get a to equal 3. Okay? So it's y equals, I can erase this a now. I know what a is. It's 3. Y equals 3 times x minus 1 times x minus 4. Okay, you try this one. Hopefully you paused me, and let's check your work. P is -3, Q is 0. Another point on the graph, x is -6 and y is -6. So we use this equation and substitute everything we know. Y, -6 equals a times x minus p, that's +3 then, and x minus 0. You do that and you get a to be -1/3. Then you get your equation, y equals -1/3 times x minus 0, we just write that as x, times x minus -3, which we write as x plus 3.